The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's roleplay session with your hosts, James McDonald and Craig Proctor.
Well, thank you, Andrea, and I'd like to start, as always, by welcoming our participants to our role-play session here today. I want to thank everybody for joining us, and I hope you're ready and eager to do some role-playing with us. Or, of course, any of your follow-up related questions we can talk about as well. As long as it has to do with lead conversion, then this is definitely the forum to to voice your questions or your thoughts or anything else, any challenges that you might be having. And we'll take the full hour or a little bit more than that to make sure that everybody gets their questions answered or gets a chance to do some role playing with us. It's great. Now, before we get started, there are a couple little things that I want to mention. One of them is that, of course, tomorrow is our marketing session, our ad clinic session. So be encouraged to upload your ads or anything that you'd like us to take a look at. Anything to do with lead generation, doesn't matter what it is. If it has to do with lead generation, upload it to the ad clinic file, and tomorrow we will take a look at it, Craig and I. And the more there are, the more time we'll take to look at them. So it doesn't matter what it is. Again, I repeat, anything that involves lead generation, upload it and let us take a look at it, and we'll offer you some suggestions. It's not like we're going to say necessarily, do this. What we're going to suggest is test this. In other words, there will be different approaches to take and different variables of the lead generation of that particular lead generator that you can test, and you can test that result against the result that you're getting right now, and there will be a winner. And you're just kind of moving the ball forward. With each test that you do, you're getting a different and hopefully better result based on positive suggestions. So anyway, we'll do that tomorrow, same time. Make sure that you take some time to upload whatever you're doing. And I have to say, it's not just designed for us to look at ads that are underperforming. We also want to look at any of your lead generators performing really well. Perhaps they could do even better in terms of either quality or quantity of response. So make sure you do that as well when you've got something that's successful for you in lead generation. Okay, now, also, you know that coming up in June, we've got our boot camp in Huntington Beach. It's starting to fill up, which is awesome. Make sure you make plans if you're on the West Coast here to do that. Reserve your seat. You can see it's June the 24th. That's Friday. And it's going to be totally awesome, as they all are. And you'll have a really great day working on your business and just kind of clarifying everything, particularly for those of you that have never attended a boot camp and maybe are a little new. It'll be really helpful for you to do that. And I think a lot that might be a little murky right now will become much clearer. So that's why we do those. Okay, now, while the juices are flowing here and you guys are considering what it is you want to talk about or what questions you might have in regards to lead conversion, I want to respond to an email from one of our coaching students who is concerned about no-shows. One of the things that we do at the boot camp is we establish, what should you be shooting for in terms of your lead conversion? What is it that we should be shooting for? How many leads should we be talking to? How many of those should result in appointments? How many of those appointments should actually happen? How many of them should be no-shows? How many of those appointments should result in contracts? In other words, if you don't know what is considered acceptable, then you may be doing a good job or you may be doing a bad job. You really don't know. But as it pertains to appointments that you've booked, those should happen 90% of the time. In other words, we're going to allow that, 10% of the time an appointment is going to cancel or they're just not going to show up. And if that's what your numbers look like, don't change anything. It means it's working really well. In other words, when you have 10% or so of your appointments cancel or no-show, think of it as a filter, and they're doing you a favor by canceling. In other words, the reason that they're doing it isn't because you have a flawed system. The reason they're doing it is to tell you that they're not of the level of motivation where an appointment is really suitable for them. However, if it's more than 10% or 15% or 20% or 30%, or in the case of this particular coaching member, more than 50% of the appointments are either not showing up or canceling outright, you got to understand it's not them, it's what you're doing. What you're doing is causing the majority of the appointments that you book to not stick. And I just want you to consider a couple of things here. Okay, the first is this. You've got to book the appointments as close to the time you're speaking to the prospect as possible. That means within 24 to 48 hours, you need to book that appointment. The further away from that period of time the appointment is, the less likely it is to happen. If you book an appointment for 6 months from now, it ain't happening. If you book an appointment for 6 hours from now, it is going to happen. It's an exaggeration, but you get it. You've got to control when the appointment is booked. So don't say when would be a good time, because they will say 6 months from now. What you need to say is what would be more convenient, days or evenings. Let them choose, and then you work them within that 24 to 48 hours. Now, will that always work? No, but it'll work most of the time overwhelmingly. So that's one thing you want to make sure that you're doing. Okay, number two is this. If the prospect fears cost and obligation, they become reluctant to show up. In other words, even if they're focused on the benefit of receiving great properties and fantastic deals and getting a little bit of help that they need, if at some point in time between now and the appointment, they start to dwell on the idea that you're probably going to charge them money or obligate them in some way, or they're fearful that maybe they don't have all of their finances in order and they feel like maybe they'd be wasting your time. If they feel that way, it's because you didn't relieve them of that anxiety. You need to make sure that they understand that you're in the process of looking for a property. I'm going to help you do that. I'm going to provide you with the properties that match what you and your family are looking for, especially and including the hard to find deals that you won't find elsewhere immediately upon these properties coming on the market. And please remember, there is no cost to this whatsoever. You're not obligated to buy a home today, tomorrow, or in 6 months, or at any point in time. This is designed to help you look for your dream property and make sure that you're not overlooking anything else. There is no obligation of purchase attached to this. It's a better way than what you're currently doing. Prospect needs to understand that, and if they do, it's far more likely that they actually want to show up for the appointment. Now, the other logistic is, where is the appointment going to be held? Okay, so the way that we always did it was that a buyer comes into the office. Unless they have a home to sell, then it's a natural that you could do it at their home, because you could also go over some comparable properties and give them an evaluation of their property as well, and maybe even get a listing while you're there on certain occasions. But in the case of most buyers, you want them to come into the office for a no obligation, benefit-rich appointment as a hoop that they're jumping through to prove their worthiness. Right? When you have a dentist appointment, you go to the dentist. That's how it works. When you need a lawyer, you go to the lawyer's office. That's how it works. And everybody is comfortable with that, often except us. So this is the requirement, is the prospect comes to us. Now, will there be occasions where it is impractical because of maybe geography? Yeah, there may be rare occasions where that's true, but you still want the prospect to meet you at preferably a professional environment. Like maybe you have a title company or mortgage company that you work with, or some kind of an affiliate that is in a more appropriate geographical spot where you can use their boardroom and have a good buyer's appointment in a quiet environment. I know that a lot of our very successful students, from time to time, as an exception, might even do it at a Starbucks. Now, that's not the most ideal environment, but even doing it there, they get great results. It's not a problem. So the bottom line is that you want to make sure that you're controlling the where and the when the appointment is to your benefit, because there is a correlation between when the appointment is, there's a correlation between where the appointment is, and most importantly, the prospect needs to understand not just the benefit of the appointment, helping them find what they're looking for, but they absolutely must understand that cost and obligation are not a factor, and they can't be riddled with anxiety about disappointment between the time you booked it and the time of the appointment. Otherwise, they're just not going to show up, or they're going to cancel the appointment. Okay. One other thing that came to mind before we move on to your role plays. One other thing that came to mind is this: is there any kind of reminder that we can test? And I'm going to give you some suggestions that you can test. Okay, one of them is this: once you book the appointment, you can send them an email confirming the time and your location, and simply reiterating the benefit of the appointment. You know, between now and Saturday morning, you know, spend some time with your spouse considering all of the details of the property that you're looking for, everything that you feel would be really important in the element of the home that you want, so that we can do a good, quick, effective job when we meet on Saturday of getting you the absolute best properties. But remember, there's no cost. You're never obligated to buy anything. We'll look forward to seeing you on Saturday morning. Right? Something like that, that again, just is another opportunity to alleviate any kind of apprehension they might have about the appointment. That's what you're trying to do. So something like that would be a good idea as well. Okay, so I hope that helps. You send a little email with a question like that, and we spend a little time answering that question. Now, Mr. Proctor, have you joined us?
I have.
Ah, there he is.
I have joined
There
you.
he is.
How you doing, Mr. McDonald's?
I am doing very well. How are you doing?
Good, good, good. So
I think we're ready to do a little role playing here.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so Andrea, maybe you can give some instructions and we'll crank it up.
I can. If you haven't done so already, and some already have, type your request or comment or question in the chat box at the bottom of your control panel, or click the hand icon if you are on the telephone or have a mic on your computer. We have several in the queue. We'll go with Anita Richardson. Your telephone line is open.
Hi, it's Anita. How are you doing today?
Hi, Anita.
Hi, can you hear me good enough?
Yes, we can. How are you?
Okay, I'm very well, thank you. Happy to be on the role play today.
And where are you calling from, or where are you
I'm
logging
calling
in from?
Port Perry, Ontario.
Ah, okay. Yeah, Lake Scugog, right?
Lake Scugog, correct.
Beautiful. All right. So what would you like to do today? You want to do a role play?
I want to do a role play. We work on the sync system, so if we can do, somebody who's come on the sync system as a buyer, that would be great.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So ring, ring. Hello?
Hi, is that Craig?
No, it's James. Who's this?
Oh, hi, James. I was looking for Craig. It's Anita calling from Realty Executives.
Okay, 1 minute.
Port
Remember.
Perry.
Yes, this is Craig.
Okay. So, Craig, you've joined our website, and I just want to let you know that I'm calling this morning to let you know you have full access to our site now. Is that okay?
What website's that? I'm sorry. I've been on the internet all last night. I didn't even sleep last night. I've been on the web
No
for
problem.
hours.
Our website is durhamregionhomesforsale.com.
Okay. Yeah, great. Thank you.
Yeah, I see you're looking to buy a house in the area in Scugog. Were you planning to make a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
Oh, we're just looking.
Oh, you're just looking now? Okay. So tell me, do you currently rent now, or you own your own home?
Yeah, we own.
You own? Okay. Are you planning to stay in the area when you move?
Well, no. Obviously, we're looking in the Scugog area. We'd like to get something on the lake, if we can find something. But no hurry. The perfect property would have to come up, and if it does, then we'll do something.
Right. So waterfront, ideally. So if you were to move, when do you think that might be?
I guess when we find the right opportunity.
Okay. So tell me, do you have a realtor to help you when the time's right?
We do have a realtor that's been sending us some properties. We met them at an open house that we went to a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
They seem nice, and they've been sending us some properties that they have. So yeah, we're getting a little bit of help.
Okay. So you're not committed to a realtor at this time. You just know some realtors. That's okay. Everybody kind of knows a realtor, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. So would you like me to email you daily updates of homes that match your home buying criteria? It would include all real estate companies, and we also have pocket listings, stuff that is not on the MLS system yet. We also have a lot of exclusive listings in our database that would be coming on, and this is a totally free service, and you're not at any time obligated to buy a home. Would that interest you?
Yeah, that would be good. Now, can I just access these from the Durham website?
You can, but that would be just what's on the MLS system. So what I'm offering you is actually more of a better method to search for your ideal home.
I gotcha. Okay.
So if that's of interest to you, sorry, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I mean, I obviously I want to get access to whatever properties you've got there, but it would be really convenient to just be able to search the website. I mean, that's what I do. I'm probably on 3 other websites as well that I go to. I go to Realtor.ca is a really good one. I get lots of property. I see lots of properties there. That's a really great website. I
It
see
is a great
everything.
website,
Looks
but
like just
again,
about
you're only
everything's on
getting
there.
access to what's on the MLS system. What I'm offering you is exclusive listings that would be available to you. Also, it's a priority service, so you would access more listings that you cannot get on the internet. So this would give you additional information, additional listings, stuff that you can't get. And if it is of interest to you, it would only be an informal meeting of about 20 minutes or so. We can take down exactly what you're looking for, and then we can put it in our database and start sending you listings on the hour, basically. So it would be an additional service than what you're getting right now. Would that be of interest to you?
Yeah, no, that sounds great. Sure. Yeah, please.
Perfect. Perfect. So what's your schedule like? When would you be available? Could we do something maybe tomorrow? We have availability tomorrow afternoon.
I don't to do what?
So we know exactly, we want to know exactly what you're looking for. So we want to be able to access homes for you that match your criteria. So you don't risk missing out on
I want to know about every home around the lake that is under 750.
If we're going to do the best job we can for you, it really takes a meeting, face-to-face meeting. It's informal, 20 minutes. We can do it at your home. You can come to our office. Would that be like tomorrow?
Okay.
Today? Even today?
Yeah.
You can come today if you like. Although you said you were up all night, so probably not.
Yeah, let me speak to my wife and see what her schedule looks like with the kids, and I'll call you back and let you know when a good time would be. Okay. I don't think it'll be today, but you know what? We'll see if we can't get something in the next little bit here. I know we're coming there on Saturday, so maybe that would be better.
Well, Craig, since I have you on the phone right now, why don't we just tentatively set up that meeting for Saturday, and then you can talk to your wife, and if there's a problem, you can always call me back to cancel if need be. Otherwise, we can go right ahead with it. So how about Saturday, 2 o'clock, or would be later in the day better?
No, earlier in the day would be better, in fact.
Okay, want to go 11?
Yeah. Well, how about, even 10, if that's fine.
Okay, 10 is perfect. So let's set it up for 10 o'clock Saturday. And is our office a good location, or would you prefer to come to the house?
No. We live in Peterborough, so yeah, you're not coming here. We can. Your office is near the lake, right?
Our office is right on Water Street. I overlook the lake. I can see it as we speak.
Okay,
so
that would be better.
94 Water Street. We'll see you there on Saturday, 10 a.m.
Okay, good stuff.
All right, perfect.
Yep.
Thanks, Craig. Have a great day.
You really want my name to be Craig, don't you?
I do.
Okay, Anita, first of all, that was a really good job. And over everything else, here's the biggest point, is you're very comfortable and conversational and competent and confident on the phone, which is so everything. I mean, just that is really, really important. See, the words that you use, we can tweak that, and we can remind you of a few little things, which I'm going to do right now. But overwhelmingly, you're not reading. You're very conversational. It's just that is the ball game. It makes such a big difference, and I hope everyone listening to that hears a real conversation. Just a conversation with two people is what it is.
Yeah, that's how I like to make it.
Yes, that is exactly right. So I really like that. Okay, now, but a couple little things here. Yep. Okay, first of all, you might want to explore my seller side a little bit more. So in other words, you found out that I own the home that I live in, and it begs the obvious question, would you prefer to sell that home prior to, buying something else or finding something else? Which is a reasonable question to ask. In other words, you can learn a lot about my timing by asking me about the sell side as well as the buy side. So I would probe a little bit there. Now, I know this isn't a question that's in the script, but maybe in this occasion it kind of begged this question, which is this. If the absolute perfect home came available today, how serious would you be about putting an offer in today? Like, should that happen? It's unlikely to happen, but if it were to happen, how likely would you be? That's going to give you some real insight. Remember, the purpose of this call is you want to figure out how good I am. That's what you're trying to figure out. How good am I as a prospect? What's my timing and motivation? So sometimes, asking a little additional question, there will be an occasion where that would be reasonable to do that. Okay, now, as far as the booking the appointment is concerned, I thought you did a really good job of explaining the benefit of what you're offering to me.
Okay.
I would use what the prospect is telling you to help you elaborate on your offer. Let me explain what I mean by that. So we might be able to say something like this. Around the lake, properties are available that you won't find on the MLS. Sometimes they're private listings. People put their home up for sale privately. You're never going to find those properties on Realtor.ca. Right. They're not on the MLS. You won't find them. Sometimes other realtors, other colleagues of mine have pocket listings that although they're not available for sale on the MLS, they are in fact available for sale. So I have access to all of these properties. Regardless of the reason that they're available, I have access to the properties that are available for sale, and I have access to them immediately. Here's what I propose I do. I'm going to email them to you. Provided they match what you and your family are looking for, I'm going to make sure they're in your email inbox immediately before the majority of the other buyers, if any of them, know about these properties for sale as well. It's absolutely free. There isn't any obligation for you to buy any, but it would certainly make your search a lot better and easier and more thorough. Would you be interested in that?
Yeah.
Right? So you're using what they're telling you, that they're looking for something on the lake, to help you justify why this is a really good idea. I want to hear you do a better job of cost and obligation.
Okay.
In other words, you're so good at explaining the benefit of what you're offering that you neglect to remove the threat. And the threat is, yeah, I get it, Anita. What you're offering me is awesome, but I'm afraid that you're going to charge me money.
Right. So it's
right?
free and there's no obligation.
You're a salesperson.
Right.
Yeah, you cannot emphasize that if you have to. Yeah, and I even listened for it really carefully. And again, what I would be thinking is, yeah, this sounds really good, but it also sounds like it's probably really expensive, and I have to sign my life away. You need me to feel like, no, this is not something that I need to fear. There's no cost. There's no obligation to buying anything. And the next thing that I want you to focus on is when you ask for the appointment, just follow the script a little more carefully. In other words, what you want to make it clear that you're asking to get together with them, right? So just saying, when have you got some time? Like I could say, well, right now I've got time. Like we're on the phone now. What you really mean to say is this: when have you got 15 or 20 minutes where we can sit down together and do a really good job of determining what you're looking for? Days, evenings, weekends, there's no cost or obligation, but I want to do a good job for you. When would be convenient for you to come and do that? You know, that's just make it very clear that that's what you're asking for in your tonality. The way you speak is very disarming. It's not threatening. You say it that way, and I don't think you'll run into any roadblocks at all. But I really applaud you for becoming this good. I really, really think you're.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no, that was very good. Thanks, Anita. Appreciate it.
Our next guest, Warren Huffnock, and I think they have Maria on the line. Go ahead.
Good morning. This is Marla.
Oh, Marla.
This may not.
Yeah, your phone sounds a little shaky, or your connection there sounds a little bit shaky, I'm afraid.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I can.
Well, go ahead and I'm going to mute your line. Go ahead and hit the hand icon again if y'all get that situation figured out. We'll go with Daniel Garcia. Your line is now open.
Hey, how are you?
Hello. Hey, Daniel. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking. How about you?
Excellent, excellent. Okay, you're looking to do a role play?
Yep.
Excellent. All right. Well,
these are requested for bank-owned properties.
For bank-owned properties. Okay. Craig, would you like to do a role play? Maybe Daniel will call you James on this one.
Okay, let's do it. Hi, Daniel. How you doing?
Doing good.
What type of prospect would you like me to be?
Someone who requested for bank-owned homes.
Okay. So you're calling me, ring, ring, and I say hello.
Hello, may I speak with Craig, please?
This is him.
Hi, Craig. This is Daniel with Royal LePage. And the reason why I'm calling is because I received your request for a list of bank foreclosure properties. And I just want to let you know I've sent that list over to you. Is that okay?
Yeah, are these all your listings?
Well, yeah. So, by the way, I was just wondering, are you planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
So you have all these listed yourself? They're your personal listings?
Yep.
Okay.
So, Do you have any plans on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, that's why we're looking around.
All right. Well, Craig, are you currently renting or do you own the property you're living in?
We rent right now.
Okay. If you were to make a move, are you planning on staying in the area or are you moving out of the area?
We would like to stay in this general vicinity.
All right. And do you have an agent to help you when the time is right?
We've got 2 agents that have been sending us information. One is a friend of my wife's, and the other one is an agent we met at an open house last weekend.
Okay. Well, are you committed to working with one of them?
I'm trying to do as much as I can without an agent, actually.
Okay. Well, Craig, would you like me to email you daily updates of homes that match your home buying criteria, not just from all the real estate companies, but also including any off-market properties, bank foreclosures, distress sales, and homes below market value? It's a free service, and you're never obligated to buy anything. Is that okay?
Well, I thought that's what you already sent me. You sent me a list of the foreclosures, the good deals.
Well, what I've actually sent you is just a snapshot of what we have. But if we can sit down for about 15 to 20 minutes, we can take down exactly what you're looking for, and we'll set you up on our system to receive pictures and descriptions of properties that matches your home buying criteria. So,
Okay. Yeah.
when do you
please
think can we sit down for about 15 to 20 minutes so we can take down exactly what you're looking for? Days or evenings?
You already have what I'm looking for, right? Because you sent me the first list.
Well, again, what I've sent you is just a snapshot of what we have, and well, the one I have here is just the general criteria that you have.
Well, why don't you start with that? Why don't you use the general criteria that you have, and just send me the information on the new ones that come up based on that.
Well, Craig, I want to do a good job for you, and instead of me sending you hundreds of properties that may or may not match your home buying criteria, let's just sit down for 15 to 20 minutes, take down exactly what you're looking for, and, well, be less likely to miss out on the perfect one. Does that make sense?
Well, look, I'm kind of busy, so I've got your contact information. We'll call you when we're ready.
All right. Well, is it okay if I follow up on you at a later time?
Why don't I call you? I've got your name and your phone number.
Okay. Well, if I don't hear from you soon, is it okay if I follow up on you?
Sure.
All right. When's a good time for me to do that?
I don't know, a couple months.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Craig. You have a good day. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, now I was purposely tough on you, but you have to admit you do get people like me, right?
Right.
Okay, so I'm trying to make this real. I want it to be a tough prospect. But what I want to demonstrate there, that doesn't mean that I'm a bad prospect.
Mm-hmm.
What that means is I am sort of resistant to meeting with a real estate salesperson. Now, you're going to find now with a guy like me, when you call me back, and first of all, let me ask you, when do you think you're going to call me back?
Half the time that you asked me to.
Correct. So I said 2 months. You're going to call me back in 30 days.
Yep.
And I made a lot of money from, this is why I want to demonstrate this. I made a lot of money from guys like this, okay, where most agents would think, well, this guy's not motivated, or he was as, cold as ice, wasn't very warm at all. That person doesn't represent a good prospect. I made a lot of money from guys just like this because on that second phone call, what you'll find is either we'll come closer together or I'll push you even further away. Now, of course, if I push you further away, the answer is no. You can delete me and move on to somebody else. But I find a lot of prospects are sort of standoffish like this. It doesn't mean they're a bad prospect. As James McDonald says, every buyer meets with a real estate agent before they buy a home, unless they buy new construction or for sale by owner. They're going to meet with a real estate agent.
And even then, they meet with the sales rep.
Now, one of the other things that you could have offered me, Daniel, is you could have offered to send a newsletter. You could have said, would it be okay if I sent you my Market Watch newsletter? Because we're creating reciprocity. What's a newsletter? Well, it's going to keep you in touch with what's happening in the local marketplace. It's a clue, right? If I accept your newsletter and I say, yes, it's okay for you to follow up with me at a later time, that's a good sign. if I said, no, I don't want your newsletter, and no, I'd rather you didn't call me back, or I'll call you. How about this? Don't call me, I'll call you. That's a bad sign. So all of these questions that I ask are clues as to, is this person open at all to me following up, or would this person be a total waste of time? There's a, I don't know if you remember this, but sometimes at the Super Conference, I purposely play a recording of a call like this, but it's me calling a lady. And James, this lady, I remember years later, she lived in Holland Landing, and she kind of blew me off. She was very, standoffish, not warm, cold as ice. But I listed her house 2 weeks later.
Well, she just sounded very indifferent.
Yeah, this was an act, right? So we have to understand that sometimes people do this. It's not a stretch to believe that people sometimes pretend or act like they're less motivated than they really are, because I think many of us do this. You walk onto a car dealership lot or into a retail store, and the salesperson approaches you. Most of us will act less motivated than we really are because we don't want any pressure. I think you did a pretty good job of differentiating the list that I'm going to get every day versus the one-time snapshot. I also think you did a very good job of differentiating this list versus what the other two agents were sending me. So you hung in there pretty good. I tried not to be rude, but I tried to be, not easy, right? This wasn't easy, but it was real. But I wanted to do this on purpose for that very reason, that many of you make the mistake of thinking when you get a guy like that on the phone that they represent a bad lead. James McDonald, I've heard you say that before as well. If they're not friendly and outgoing and jumping up and down to share their motivation and timing, you used to believe that, well, this prospect's not motivated.
Right. Or, on the other hand, when a prospect's really nice and friendly, you confuse that for meaning they're motivated.
Absolutely.
Neither one is true.
Yep, absolutely. I could have been super friendly with you and chatty and actually not be motivated. So it's you stuck with the script. That's the important thing. You stuck with the script. The only thing I would add is you didn't offer me a newsletter. If I am truly, let's assume maybe I'm telling the truth. Maybe I am 2 months away. You probably want to have a newsletter for future prospects. Remember, most of the buyers and sellers we speak to are not ready to buy or sell today. They're a month or 2 months or 3 months out or longer, so we should be sending them a newsletter. I think we all know that, and we have a newsletter that you guys can knock off and use, and even have your sponsors or affiliates pay to advertise in that newsletter so it doesn't cost you anything. All right, good job, Daniel. Let's go back to Andrea. We'll see who's next.
And Craig and James, we do have several follow-up questions in our chat box. So would you like to move on to some of those or keep on with the follow-up with the role play?
No, we could take some of those. Let's do that.
Okay, let's see. I was reading one. Rusvan says, what do I say when I call back the prospect to cancel the appointment and they say they will call me? How should I get the conversation going?
Okay, well, first of all, again, the first thing that I want to establish is this the exception or the rule? In other words, if this is happening all the time, then in the very beginning, we need to change your process, okay? If this is the exception, okay, again, 10% of the time, maybe they cancel, they don't show up, but that's okay. You're not going to change anything. You're going to call them back, and you're going to allow them this one time to let's just suggest that something really came up or they forgot about it. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt on this occasion. And all you're going to say is this, hey, Craig, it's James calling with Craig Proctor's office. I know that sounds weird that I'm calling Craig from Craig Proctor's office, but just for the sake of this role play, we'll do this. Craig, we had an appointment scheduled for yesterday evening at 7 o'clock, and I guess something must have come up and you weren't able to make it. I prepared some properties for you that I was going to give you, and we were going to go over your criteria in detail. Can we reschedule that appointment for maybe a more convenient time, days, evenings, weekends? What would be better for you, Craig? Now, again, if this is happening over and over and over again with every prospect, then in the first place, we've got to look at what you're doing. But if Craig is one appointment this week that canceled or no-showed, okay, so this is okay. Maybe Craig really isn't as motivated as I thought he was. But okay, I don't know. What can you say to that, Craig?
what I like about what you just said, did everyone hear that? James does a very good job of repeating the benefit of the meeting. Okay, the meeting is a feature, right? The benefit is what they're going to derive from the meeting. You've got to be talking about that benefit. You can't, the benefit to them, believe me, is not meeting with a real estate agent. We might think that's the benefit to us. It's not the benefit to them. So James, just repeat that again. If you were talking to their answering machine, their voicemail, or you were speaking to them live, just repeat that again where you're doing a very good job of articulating the benefit of the meeting.
I would say, hey, Craig, it's James calling with Remax Omega Realty. Craig, we had an appointment scheduled for last evening at 7 o'clock. I guess something must have come up and you were unable to make it. But I did prepare some great properties for you, and I'm looking forward to sitting down and going over all of your criteria so we can do an excellent job of getting you emailed the very best properties the moment they come on the market. As I mentioned, it's absolutely free and there's no obligation. Please give me a call back so we can reschedule a more convenient time for you, something in the evenings, during the day, on the weekends, whatever is best for you, and we can reschedule that. Thanks, bye.
Yep, very good. Now, sometimes
the truth is I wouldn't leave that on an answering machine. You want to have that conversation with the prospect, honestly.
I really would like you guys to pretend that voicemail and email doesn't exist. Just pretend we live in a world where there's no email. You can't just email them, James, you missed your appointment yesterday. You can't leave them a voicemail. In a perfect world, you're actually speaking with them and you're persistent until you do. The way I looked at email and leaving a voice message, it was a Hail Mary. It was the last attempt, the last thing I'm going to do before I give up on a prospect because I've tried them many, many times over many, many days. Now, as far as this missing appointment thing, James nailed it on the head. If it happens every once in a while, we call that a special cause. Okay, a special cause. If it happens all the time, it's called common cause. So we cannot tweak our system for special causes. A special cause would be their child fell down and broke their arm, and they had to take the kid to emergency, and that's why they couldn't come to the appointment. Or once in a while, they just plain forget. Sometimes we all forget things we actually want to do. It's not a stretch to imagine that they might actually forget about this meeting. But the better job you do of articulating that benefit, okay, the higher your show-up rate. Now, a common cause, let's step out of real estate for a minute. Common causes and special causes. So, James, you're driving down the road in your car, and your car stops running. A special cause would be the alternator blew up. Right. Okay, you can't predict for that. There's no way that you could build anything into your system to predict for these kind of things in your business, like your alternator blowing up in your car. A common cause is you're driving down the road and you run out of gas. Right. That's a common cause. You can prepare for that. How about this? Every 3 or 4 days, you probably should top up your tank. Go get some gas. It's the same thing in your business. When you find that you've got a lot of no-shows, I mean, it's happening a lot. It's a common cause. You can build something into your system to fix that. A special cause cannot be predicted. We can't do anything about build anything into our system about the kid falling down and breaking their arm, okay, or people actually just forgetting, although we could have reminders. Another thing I want to talk about with this whole no-show thing is, since we do know people have weak memories, always booking the appointment as close to now is what you want to strive for. Time is not your friend. The more time that elapses between your conversation right now and the actual appointment, only bad things can happen. They bump into a friend of theirs that has a relative that's a real estate agent. Okay, they go to work the next day and, I'm meeting a real estate agent in 2 days. Well, look at my husband or wife's a real estate agent, or they just plain forget. So you're going to have to become really good at articulating the benefit of the meeting to get them to agree that very first time to meet with you, and try to get that appointment as close to now as possible. If this is happening a lot, it becomes a common cause. The good news is when it's a common cause, we can build things into your system to dramatically reduce the chances of this happening. Let's go back and take a few more chat questions. Andrea, give us another.
Okay. Greg says he's getting leads that leave their information on his unbranded site, but they didn't specifically ask for any specific report or information. How would he start the conversation off with the first part of the script?
Yeah, I really don't get too caught up in what they requested. Just please write this down. It just doesn't matter. Okay, I would call them up and I would say, hey, James, it's Craig Proctor with ABC Realty. Hey, look, I received your request. You were on our website. You were looking for some information, and I just wanted to follow up and see if you folks had any more moving plans.
Yep.
You've just got to go into the assumption that if they're on your website and they left you some information, and they might say, well, what's this about? That's why I'm calling. I'm not quite sure. I've got your name, your email address, and your phone number, and I wanted to follow up to, first of all, see if you had any moving plans and what information you might for. A lot of you, too, make the mistake of really spending way too much time assembling your lists of properties. You take a half an hour assembling your fixer-upper list or your distress sale list or your luxury property list or your list of homes in Glenway Estates. When the truth is, in my experience, very rarely are they going to buy one of the homes on your list. That's not the purpose. Don't be thinking that, well, I've got to spend so much time on this list because chances are they're going to judge me on this list, or they're going to be limited to what's on the list. They're not. You're fulfilling their request. We know that most buyers want to look at a number of homes. They want to see all the properties or get information on all the properties before they make a buying decision. So, you should spend 5 minutes on this list. That's it. Send it out. You've created reciprocity. You've sent them information, okay, that matches their criteria based on their request. The whole name of the game now is to ask them the qualifying questions, determine who's motivated and whose timing is now, and if they're motivated, their timing is now. That indicates to you, I need to book an appointment. And you need to sign them to a buyer agency agreement, and then you're probably going to send them dozens, maybe hundreds of properties before they find the perfect home. Alex just typed in, Alex from Newmarket said it takes him about 1.5 minutes to pull off the list. That's it. That's all you're trying to. Don't be thinking that you need to spend a lot of time on this list. I'm not going to say they never buy one on the list, but it hardly ever happens. Next question.
Well, you would agree that the property that you are going to purchase has yet to come on the market, and it's critical that you be aware of that property before the majority of the other buyers are, right? It is highly likely that the property that you are going to eventually fall in love with and purchase is not for sale today, but it's going to be. Now, here's the question. Are you going to be the first one who knows about that property when it is available for sale? And doing what you're doing right now, combing the internet, trying to get lucky, is not the best option. What if I did this for you instead? What if I emailed you all of the best deals as they came on the market, especially the hard-to-find properties? Would that make your search easier? It's such a no-brainer.
All right, Sarah Van has typed in a question. What is the best answer to give a prospect when they say, hey, we're not looking for a real estate agent, we're doing the work ourselves? Well, there's a couple of places you can go. First of all, you could say this, well, it doesn't cost anything to have me look for a property for you. Okay, so it's free to have me run around and do all the work and all the sifting and sorting for you. And you could turn it into a question back to them and ask, well, why not? Why are you doing the work yourself when you can have me doing all the work and taking all the responsibility and giving you priority access? Understand the downside of doing this yourself is you're probably not getting priority access to all the hot new listings. I think you would agree, James, that the best properties sell very quickly. And as a real estate agent, I have access to properties even before they go on the market. So we could argue by the time most buyers get the information, they're looking at properties that have already been picked over. You know, some of the best properties don't even make it onto MLS. And so Sarah, what I would say to this prospect is, what's more important to you, doing the work yourself or getting access to the best properties and getting the best deal on a property? Because what they're saying here is we don't see any benefit of using a real estate agent. Why would anyone want to do the work themselves unless they thought there was some kind of perceived negative in having a real estate agent do that work? So, you know, I've given some good arguments there on how to handle that. Most of the time, the answer is because they've already got an agent. They're saying they're not looking for a real estate agent. Well, they're not looking for one because they already have one. It's their uncle. Okay, and if they're 100% committed to their uncle, there's nothing that James or I or anybody else can be able to say to them to shake them off that. And the answer is next. All right, speaking of next, what's the next question?
Okay, hold on just 1 second. So Allison is saying she enjoys the role play very much. She's hoping to get more role play on the listing and buyer presentations. And we do sessions that we watch Craig live go through his buyer and listing presentations. We may have you may be in our newer group where we haven't quite gotten there yet, but you will be able to see that. And those are some awesome.
Well, I can give you some language right now. I can give you some of the language in the listing presentation. So when I get to their front door, I knock on the door and I ask them, are you folks ready to get your home sold tonight? Sometimes they say yes. You know, we're ready to go. That tells my brain I don't have to do a big long presentation. These people are ready to go. But most times they'll say, well, you know, we're not sure. It depends what you have to say, Craig. That tells me I do have to do a full-blown presentation. As you know, we're going to walk around the house before we sit at a location. The location should be selected by you, not random. Okay, we don't want this presentation happening in the family room where you're sitting 10 or 15 feet away from them. It should be happening at a table, kitchen table or dining room table. Where you place them is important. You want them sitting beside each other, not husband to the left and wife to the right, and you're trying to bob your head back and forth, trying to divide your attention. Never does work well. So you got to set the stage. Okay, when we get to the presentation itself, I start the presentation off by really addressing the fact that most home sellers are not happy with their real estate agent. You know, that's why these sellers are interviewing in the first place. And the major complaint that home sellers have about real estate agents is you list your home with them and you never hear from them again. So lack of communication. Then I explain, how are we going to handle that communication? Well, we guarantee to call you every single week. If you call us and we don't return your call within 24 hours, or you do not receive at a minimum 1 call per week from my office giving you feedback on how many showings we had, okay, and what we're doing, what the feedback was on those showings, and what we're doing to advertise and market the property, if you don't get a call like that every week, I'll deduct $500 off of my commission. Okay, these are called performance guarantees. When we get to pricing, by the way, I say if you take my recommended price, I don't sell your home within $5,000 of that price, there'll be a further reduction in my commission. Okay, then I'm going to talk about all the things I'm going to do in my presentation. I'm assuming all you folks tell the truth. If you tell the truth and you actually are going to do these things, you can guarantee that. I call this my professional service agreement. And in my professional service agreement are things that sound amazing, but they're actually things that any real estate agent would do. So for example, James, within 48 hours of you listing your home with me, I am going to notify 40,000 agents in the Greater Toronto area about your new listing. I am going to send information on your property and pictures of your house. I'm going to make that available to 40,000 agents in the Greater Toronto area.
Sounds
What have
impressive.
I just described? Yeah, sounds impressive.
Right.
Right. Here's what other agents say. Yeah, I'm gonna stick your home on MLS. James, within 48 hours of you listing your property.
You know what's crazy is that because it's filmed, they don't even say it at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because their assumption is, well,
you must know that.
Every seller would know that.
Every realtor does that, so you know that. You know we're going to put it on MLS. I mean, you know that. You make the assumption, which is a big mistake.
How about this? Within 48 hours of listing your home with me, James, your home is going to be featured on 7 different websites. See, all this stuff happens automatically anyway. So throughout my presentation, what you hear me saying or promising is stuff that I'm going to do and stuff that any agent would do, but I make it sound more impressive and I attach a penalty if I don't do this. So really what I'm guaranteeing are things that I know I'm going to do anyway. They're safe guarantees, right? Here, I'll give you guys a couple of guarantees right now. I guarantee that later today it's going to get dark. And I also guarantee tomorrow morning it's going to get light again, right? These are guarantees that we can make. So that's my professional service guarantee. When I talk about my team, I could make that work either way. If I'm a solo agent and the seller was interviewing agents that were part of a team, I would make the solo agent sound superior to the other realtor that operates as a team. I would win the listing. I would make the team concept sound really, really like a bad idea for the seller. I would say to this, I'd say, James, you know, when you hire me, you get me. You get my personalized service. Okay, I take care. I don't. Yes, I don't delegate you to less experienced or less competent people. You get me. I'm the guy. I take care of all the details. I don't delegate you to less competent or less experienced people. Now, if I'm part of a team, I'm going to say this. James, you know, for years I operated as a solo agent, and I tried my very best to give every one of my clients great service, individualized attention. I tried my best to do that. But what I found is that many of the balls were dropping, despite my best efforts, despite working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. So I operate now as a team, just like other professionals, like your doctor, like your lawyer. When you hire me, you're getting me and my entire team for the same price as hiring a solo agent. James, let me ask you this. Who do you think can provide you better service? A solo agent trying to juggle all the balls himself, or me and my team of 6 agents? Who do you think can work with more buyers? Who do you think can be more attentive to your every need? So you can, that's the beauty of marketing. Marketing is a battle of perceptions. That's what marketing is. And you become very good with the words that come out of your mouth on the phone and in person. And when you do that, this business is very easy. Okay, so you've got to look at your situation. You've got to be asking, how do I describe my situation? If I'm up against an agent that's has a huge presence in my marketplace, and they sell hundreds of homes a year, and I'm fairly new in this business, what can I say to differentiate myself from that agent that's had all that success? Okay, so it doesn't matter whether you're a new agent or you're a veteran or what your situation is, what you learn. If you want to be successful, you learn how to take your position and turn that in your favor. Let's take our next question.
Well, I thought we could move on to another role play, if you don't mind. We have Michael Garcia, who's saying his ISA has been raising his hand for a while and never gets called on. So I want to make sure today that
today's the day.
Today is the day. They want to know how to do it. This is how.
Well, hang on a second. Is this Gerald?
Gerald with Michael Garcia.
I've been waiting for Gerald. Gerald, please raise your hand and let's get you set up here.
Okay, your line is open.
Hi,
Go
Greg.
ahead.
Hi, James.
How
are you guys doing?
I'm good, Gerald. Yourself?
I'm doing okay too, thanks.
Good. All right. What kind of prospect would you like me to be?
All right. I would like you to be a buyer who requested information from one of our websites.
Okay, I'm one of those guys. Ring, ring. Hello.
Hi, Craig.
Yes, this is Craig.
Hi, Craig. This is Gerald, and I'm with the Garcia Real Estate team. The reason I'm calling is because I received your request for the information you wanted, and as a courtesy, I wanted to let you know that you now have full access to SearchAway. Is that okay?
Thank you.
All right, great. So are you folks planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
Yes,
Great, okay. And do you currently rent, or do you own the place you're living?
we own a house.
All right. And are you going to be staying in the area, or are you going to be moving out?
We're staying in the area.
Okay. And if you were to move, when exactly do you think that might be?
Probably do something in the summer.
In the summer, okay. And do you have a realtor to help you when the time is right?
The guy that sold us the house has kept in touch with us.
Okay. And are you 100% committed to using that person exclusively?
Well, I don't know. You asked me if we have an agent. That's the only guy we know. He sold us this place, so he's been in touch. I don't know if I can say we're 100% committed.
Okay. All right. So you mean that you're not really 100% committed to that agent yet, correct?
Well, we haven't signed anything.
Okay. All right. That's good to know. And well, would you prefer to buy before listing your home, or do you want to sell first?
We'd like to look around before we put our home will sell. We're confident they sell very quickly on our street, so we would want to find something before we sell our house.
Okay, got it. Now, would you like me to email you daily updates of homes that match your home buying criteria from all real estate companies? Our list includes any bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, or distressed sales. It's a free service, and of course, you're never obligated to buy a home. Is that something you'd be interested in?
Well, you said I have full access to your site, so can I just get access that way?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. What's available on a website or on the website would be 80% of what really is available. We have 20% that are off-market, bank foreclosures, company-owned, private listings, those properties. We can set you up to have access to those listings as well. Do you find that helpful?
Yeah, can you put those ones on that same site so when I go to the site I can see them all?
I'm not so sure if that's going to be available. If it's really important for me that I do a good job for you on this. What we normally do is we sit down with folks just like you for about 20 to 30 minutes and take down in writing as to what it is that you're looking for. So when can we get together for about 20 to 30 minutes so I can make sure that I have a clear understanding of the kind of home you're looking for?
Well, what's this cost? How much does it cost to meet with you?
It's absolutely free, and you're never obligated to buy a home.
Okay. By the way, you didn't tell me that, so I had to ask.
Right.
Okay. All right. So you said I'm not obligated. So if I meet with you, it doesn't cost anything. Do I have to sign anything?
That's something I wouldn't be able to answer at this point, but
Okay, well,
it's absolutely free.
Do they? Okay. First of all, the fact that you're pausing causes the prospect to think, yes, they're going to make me sign something. The answer is no. They don't have to sign anything when they meet with you, do they? They can choose to sign a buyer representation. Easy for me to say. They can choose to sign that, but they don't have to. So when they ask you, when I meet with you, do I have to sign anything? The answer is no. They don't have to. Nor do you have to continue working with them.
All right.
Okay, so I don't have to sign anything. All right. Well, look, why don't we do this? My wife's not here because you probably want her to be there as well, right?
Right. We would love to have both of you decision makers.
Well, I'm married, so that she's the only decision maker. When we got married, I had an agreement with my wife that she would make all the minor decisions, and I would make all the major decisions. And we've been married 20 years. So far, there's been no major decisions.
Okay. Well, we just needed to actually. Well, we would love to meet with you, either one of you guys, if it's okay to meet with your wife. That's going to be okay. If or if she can speak in your behalf, that would
Okay.
be fine. So when do you think would be a good day for us to meet? Do you prefer days, evenings, or weekends?
So I'll call you back. She's not here, so I'll have to find out when she's available, and then I'll call you back with the time. How's that?
Okay. Well, since I have you on the phone, why don't we set up a tentative appointment?
Very good, very good. Okay, great. All right, so we set up an appointment. All right, not bad. So the only thing I kind of caught you on there, Gerald, was, you know, when I asked you when we meet, do we have to sign something, and also.
Free and no obligation is important.
Yeah, you need to say free and no obligation. James McDonald's really big on that.
Okay.
That's the two fears that they have about meeting with us is they fear it's going to cost something, or they have fear of obligation. So make sure at the same time that you're communicating the benefit, you're also communicating that by meeting with us is absolutely free of charge, and you're not obligated to do anything.
Okay. Got it.
Okay, very good. That was good role play.
All right. Thanks, Craig.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, hold on just one moment. We have Marla back on the line. Marla, go ahead.
Good morning.
Oh, you sound so much better, Marla. That is amazing.
We worked on it, so thank you. I would like you to be the person who has requested something from our advertorial in the local paper here just for our senior community of 14,000 people.
All right. Hey, by the way, have you run that empty nesters editorial ad?
I didn't think that applied here.
Well, it's a retirement community, right?
Right?
Okay. Well, wouldn't they be selling sometimes? And well, I guess the kids are gone, right? They've already retired.
No, that's why. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's that's the ad you're going to run to get people that want to live in that retirement area.
Right, which is a different question, because right now, because we're just beginning, we've been doing this for about 3 weeks with the hotline and with the advertorials, and we actually got 10 calls in the last 2 weeks from the advertorial.
I'll tell you, so many of our coaching members underestimate the effectiveness of these editorial ads. Andrea, can you go to the ad generator and pull up the empty nesters ad?
Yes, I can. Give me just 1 second.
Okay. I was reading the words on the landing page, and I think it's probably the same wording in the ad. Let's see if Andrea can pull that up. It actually brought a tear to my eye, Mr. McDonald.
Oh my.
Yes. Can I tell you why? My daughter is going to university. Okay, so oldest son is already gone. Middle daughter is going to university. So I have one child left. And I'm reading the words in this empty nester. Andrea, can you read the words there? I can't. It's not big enough for me to read. But read what it says here. Now, you can imagine if you were an empty nester and you happen upon what appears to be a news article in your local paper. Andrea, are you able to read that?
I am. It starts off, are you an empty nester who needs a home for the future? Is it time to downsize or move into another home more suitable to your glorious retirement years? Like thousands of residents in our area, you may be discovering that after years of nonstop child traffic in and out of your doors, toys on the floor, music floating throughout, suddenly you can hear a pin drop over the quiet hum of the refrigerator.
That's pretty depressing.
Really
That's good copy. That is good. I'm reading this, and I'm thinking, this is me now. When I wrote this 15 years ago, I'm thinking, well, I'm writing an ad for older people. But look at that. Let's see if I can read this again. You may be discovering that after years of non-stop child traffic in and out of your doors, toys on the floor, what's that say? Music.
Many empty rooms gathering dust now that your children have moved on.
Right. So James, I was reading this on our landing page the other day, and I'm like a little depressed reading my own copy here. So this is good. It paints a picture, right? It paints a picture. So anyway, back to Marla. Marla, this would be a great campaign to target people that are going to move into that retirement community.
Correct, but we are focusing right now on getting the community that we live in, that we've worked in for 2 years, to get a lead, because I know they're all going to sell. And here's the comments I've gotten. If you'd rather me read I haven't been able to get through the speech, the universal call to action, because do you want me to just tell you the objection?
Well, first of all, you're calling it a speech, and James McDonald said earlier today, this should be a conversation. Nobody wants to hear a speech. So if you're thinking of this as in terms of, I've got to get through this speech, that's the wrong way of looking at this.
Okay, I apologize.
So you know, it's got to be, people don't want to be speeched to, they want to have a conversation. So anyway, sorry for interrupting. Tell me how this is going.
Okay. My great focus and enjoyment is having a conversation with people. That's my gift. So here's what's happening to me is I'm calling, and the first person that I called, I realized later was the son answering the phone, and I said, may I speak to Alma? And who is this? And I said, this is from the real estate company. He heard real estate company, and he said, my mother is not selling the property. I thought, ooh, okay. I said, well,
Well, look, it's always. I have never made any money, by the way, talking to anybody except for the prospect. So, for example, if I get an ad call, and you know, I return the ad call, and they're like, yeah, I'm calling for my sister, my brother, my uncle, my mother. I just give them the information and get off. You're really not going to get anywhere if you're not talking to the prospect. So there was a gatekeeper that told you to go away.
No, that didn't work out that way. What I said is, well, I'm calling because your mother requested the 27 tips.
Exactly.
And he yells to his mother, Mom, did you request that, 27 tips? And she said yes, and she came to the phone, and we had a lovely conversation.
Oh, so she was home. Okay. I thought it was a situation where she wasn't around and this guy was just trying to get rid of you.
No, I would have gotten rid of him. Yeah.
Okay.
But she said that she's not selling her home. She's just getting it ready for when her demise. Okay. That's a very common position that the people that are living here that are reading the paper, and two others said they're in the 70s, one said they're 92, and pretty much they're all saying, I'm here until I'm taken out in a stretcher, unless they go to assisted living. So I can't get past, I'll do this with you, but I get stuck. So maybe you can give me the objection.
Okay. Well, first of all, maybe this is not a good target market then.
Oh, well,
like they're not. Well, what you're saying is they're not moving because of something good, or they're not moving because of any real benefit, something they're looking forward to. You're targeting an area where the only reason they sell is when the prospect you're talking to dies.
Dies or go to assisted living. Or the third one, go live with their kids because they can't live on their own.
Okay, well, first of all, if you're talking to people that are only going to act when they die, having those conversations probably aren't fruitful. If they go to assisted living, they might not be making that decision. Chances are the children, somebody else is making that decision. I'm just not sure if this is a productive target market because there seems to be a long time, hopefully for these people, between when they gather the information and when they either pass away or they're forced, really not want to. Many of them are forced into assisted living.
Well, here's what I wanted to ask you. I'm talking to them, I'm getting their information, and we've made a connection. And as I'm sending out the pamphlet that they've asked for and I'm putting my business card in, I am writing a little note. And my question to you is, what can I say, or what ideas do you have to say? Like, I'm following up with what I said with them on the phone and they said to me. So one said, well, my niece will inherit it. So I wanted to put a note in that said, please forward this information to your package for your niece and papers when it's hard to say when the time comes.
Yeah, I don't like it because you're not dealing with the decision maker.
Okay. All right.
Right? Okay. What you're saying is here's what happens. these people are only selling when they pass away. Well, they're not making the decision then, or they're being forced into assisted living, and they're not making the decision usually in that situation either.
Correct. But
yeah, I don't like it.
But I'd like to stay in this community because there are probably 95 realtors in here.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody is making money. We had a good year last year for beginners.
Well, look, it's not that you can't make money. What you've got to ask yourself is, of all of the target groups, the demographics that you could go after, is this the most productive? I never say to real estate agents that their target market is the worst target market, because I don't know that. But I just also don't know whether it's the best. I believe you've all heard my story about how I selected my target market. It was the neighborhood where I happened to get my first listing. That became my target market. It didn't make it a horrible target market, but it certainly wasn't the best target market. Many real estate agents make that same mistake. It's like chance. They select their target market based on the area they live, okay, based on the neighborhood that is maybe close to the office, or maybe it's where they got their first listing. But we could take the reality program, okay, which interfaces with your MLS, and in 5 minutes, we could determine, well, what would be the most productive target market? So what kind of things are we looking for? Well, I'd be looking at who has the highest turnover. For me, here's what I would rather do. I would rather target a brand new area, like new construction, where the people have moved in a year or two, much higher turnover than what you're talking about. So, for example, in my town, in Newmarket, there's an older section of town around Park Avenue. Okay, and Alex, you know Park Avenue in the older part of town. Alex, these are people that would say to us, "I'm not moving until." Well, I've had them say that to me. When are you thinking of making a move? I'm not moving until they carry me out of here in a box. Well, you got to be careful to say, "Great, when do you think that might be?" Got to be careful with that. So I like Alex here from Newmarket's with us. Yeah, retirees. I like the newer areas. So in Newmarket, it would be Summerhill and College Manor. When those areas opened up, there was high turnover. Why? Because people who buy new construction are usually buying off a plan. They move in. The house isn't exactly what they thought it was going to be. They didn't know who their neighbors were going to be. There are a lot of younger people. A lot of marriages don't last, in the early years. So these were all good reasons for me to target a specific demographic, a specific type of seller. So I'm just saying some thought should go into this. Okay. Because you live there, it doesn't make it a bad target market, but it doesn't make it the best. And you've presented a couple problems here today. You're saying that these sellers only move when they die.
Correct.
Or when they're going to assisted living. And I'm saying, but in either case, building a relationship with a prospect that's not going to act until they die, or a prospect that isn't in control of that move when they're forced into assisted moving, why work on building a relationship in those cases? It's that relationship, I don't know how productive it's going to be.
Okay. See, and you just made a comment because I didn't know how, my husband and I work as a team, we didn't know how to go to a neighborhood outside of here that we know nothing about that would be absolutely cold.
Well, look, you learn, right? When I got into real estate, I didn't know about any of the areas. So that's, you can run less branded advertising, okay, generate leads that way. And what happens is you get your first listing, you get your second listing, and you get your door, and you learn about the neighborhood. Because really what you're saying is, well, yeah, Craig, I agree there may be more productive target markets out there, but that means I would need to learn those areas. Yes, you would. But 10 years from now, you might be way better off having, ventured into new target markets, even if it requires the work or the being a little bit uncomfortable in the beginning.
Okay, then should I practice I am a seller?
You want to do a role play? Sure. Okay. So ring, hello.
My coach required it. today.
Okay, all right. Well, we don't want to get in trouble. So ring, ring, and I say hello.
Hello, is Joel there, please?
Yes, this is him.
Hi, Joel. I am Marla Silva from Laguna Premier Realty, and the reason I'm calling is because I received your request for information you wanted, and I wanted to let you know that I popped it in the mail to you today. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Are you planning, Joel, to move in the next 3 to 6 months?
Well, we really don't want to, but we may have to go into assisted living.
I have the perfect place for you. The assisted living community is Laguna Woods, and I would like to know if, when you're planning to move, would you be moving? Okay, my husband's giving me little clues here. Would you be moving into an area that would be 55 and over? Would that be okay for you?
Well, I'm 78.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said assisted living.
Mm-hmm.
Then I can't help you. I'm sorry. I'll sell your house. I didn't hear. I didn't hear
Right.
you.
Well, this is a problem, right? Because what you're saying is you're calling people that are only moving because they're going to die, or they're going into assisted living. So I did the assisted living because I thought it wouldn't be as morbid as saying, well, actually, I got 2 weeks to live, and you're saying you can't help me. This doesn't sound like a good target market for you. That's my point.
Yeah. Because they have to do that on one-on-one to go to assisted living. There's nothing I can do.
Yeah, no, you need to examine the possibilities in your marketplace. I really think you do. Building a relationship with people that are going to pass away, or people that go into assisted living where they're no longer probably making those decisions, just doesn't sound productive.
I understand now. Yeah, because I haven't had a chance to really brainstorm with you and get the feedback. You're telling me things I didn't want to hear, and I need to learn.
Well, you see, the thing is we everybody wants to change and improve, but nobody really wants to change and improve, right? So what I'm telling you is yeah, it's uncomfortable. You've got to go do some research. You can't just keep farming or targeting the same area. You're going to have to spread your wings and educate yourself and go out there and target a brand new market. But do the research first.
Okay, how do you answer, and I've gotten this question a lot, how many years have you been in real estate? If I say 2 or 3, they don't like to hear that, especially if I'm going to a new area. And
well, why not? I would say that, the benefit is unlike agents that have been doing this for decades, who wake up every day and not excited about it. I've been listening for a couple of years, and I'm full of energy and I'm invigorated, and I love this.
Okay.
I mean, 2 weeks might be a problem. I don't think 2 years is a problem.
Okay. And the last question I have for you is how do you, all right, well, if I'm moving to a new area, then with advertising, should the advertising be, are you interested in moving to a senior? So they're outside the area, an area I don't know. Do I put out advertorials for those papers when I'm asking them if they're ready to move into senior, and then I could sell their home?
Look, before you decide it's going to be seniors or first-time buyers, do you have the IMS program?
INS?
Yeah, the reality program from IMS. Do you have that program? As a coaching member, you can access it for $29 a month.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
it'll interface with your MLS.
Okay. So now one last question. You see a lot of real estate signs up. Let's say I pick the next place is Laguna Niguel, and I'm going to go to that town. I'm green. I don't know anything. I was lucky enough to be able to get a presentation to list their home, and they say, well, how many of you sold in?
Yeah, how many of you sold in our area? Do you remember I told you one of my first listing presentations was in an area in King City, and the guy said, well, Mr. Proctor, how many homes have you sold in King City? I'd never sold any homes. I said to him, Mr. Seller, I've never had a listing here in King City that I haven't been able to sell.
Thank you. Thank you. Now I feel more confident.
Look,
Good.
everybody has to start somewhere.
And also, if you work for a company, it's highly likely that the company has sold homes there before, so you can definitely use your company.
No, that's the problem. See, this real estate office is located right outside the gates to the senior community, and that's all they sell is in the senior community. They don't venture anyplace else, so I'd be the first one.
Well, you
All
want
right,
to say
Marla,
that
well,
you're
I
taking
hope
success.
I hope this has helped here. We need to
Yes.
move on, though.
Thank you very much. I really
thanks,
appreciate
Marla.
all your time. Okay?
Hey, Andrea, could you give me control of the webinar here for a second, please?
I can.
Okay. Let me just take everyone to reality. I know we've done this before, but all of you should have this program. Okay, can you see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is a demo they set me up for Toronto. I know I've done this before, but let me just show everybody once again all the benefits to this program. Okay, I believe they offer this in pretty much every MLS. It's $500 a month if you're not a Craig Proctor coaching member. You guys can get it for $29 a month. It's a steal. So the first thing I can do, I can go to all the cities in my area or in your area, and I can look at the number of homes, here's the different areas, and the number of homes that have sold in the last 12 months. Okay, I can look at the volume. I can look at the average days on the market. Like, why do I want to choose a target market that has 160 days in the market when I can choose one that has 17 days in the market? Why do I want to choose a target market where there were only 7 sales in the last year? That'd be kind of a dumb target market, right? Let's say my goal is I want to sell 50 homes, James, but my target market, if I got 100% of the transactions, in the last year there's only 7. Okay, let's look at list to sales ratio. Look at this place, Ajax, 102% of the of 102% of the asking price. Okay, but some of these places, not as good, 93%. All right, so I want to look at this. I don't want a target market that's too small. I don't want to target an area that had 7 sales. However, an area like Brampton with 10,000 sales, that might be too big in relationship to the limited resources that I have, right? I can't be everything to everybody in Brampton. It's a larger city. So if you go down to the areas that I targeted, Aurora, that's a manageable number. 1,200 home sales in the last year, 18.8 days on the market. The average list to sale is 101%. Check this out. 572 of the 1,198 homes that sold, 572 sold for the full asking price or over. And then the other target market was Newmarket. Okay, 1,860 sales. Now, I can break down Newmarket. So I select Newmarket. I add to search. Now, who do I want to target in Newmarket? Because some areas are better than other areas. Okay, so I might just want to target the different neighborhoods, go to communities within Newmarket. Well, look at this. Stonehaven Estates, 310 homes sold in the last year, 18.4 days on the market. Look at this, average price of $900,000. I like that area, maybe more than this area where homes are selling for half the price. You've heard me talk about Glenway Estates, 77 homes sold. Now, you can use this program. Let's say that I've got a listing appointment in Glenway Estates. Add to search. I got a listing appointment there this evening. I'm going to go to graphs, and I want to show the seller some information that the other realtors aren't showing. Here's average days on the market. Okay, I want to do this for 12 months. Maybe I want to go back for 2 years. Okay, maybe blue's my favorite color. Maybe I don't want a small graph. Maybe I want a larger graph. Okay, maybe I want to export this, or maybe I want to print this information. Let's go back to what other information I can provide to the seller. How about the number of units that have sold every month for the last 2 years? Okay, how about the average price? Would this help set you apart if you were able to bring this information to meet with the seller when they're interviewing you and a couple of other agents. I'm not saying you're not going to bring the information from MLS, but all the agents are going to the same well for information, but nobody is showing the seller market trends. Now, I want to send postcards to Glenway Estates. Well, here are the streets in that area that have the most sales in order of most sales. Alexdona, 13 sales. So I know what streets had the most sales. If I'm doing any target marketing, now I know. Doesn't this convince everyone here that some cities are better than others, some neighborhoods are better than others, but also some streets are better than other streets? When you have this information, you can make good decisions. And that was my point with Marla, is we don't have to be limited to where we live. We don't have to throw a dart at the wall and say, oh, well, my target market is the neighborhood I live in or the neighborhood close to the office. We can use science and logic and make really good decisions. Let's have a look at the performance of the other agents that I'm competing with here in Newmarket. Or in Glenway Estates, sorry. In Glenway Estates, one agent sold 7 homes, 106 agents sold 1. That tells me this is a pretty good target market. Would everyone agree there's no dominant agent here? The top agent sold 7 homes, one agent sold 6, and 106 agents sold 1. So I'm not going to be up against a big agent here. Now, let's say that I've got a buyer that comes into my office from Toronto. They don't know anything about Newmarket. I can take them to visual marketing, and I can show them all the properties in the area without leaving my office. Okay, instead of running around in my car, being a taxi driver, this program breaks them down. Green are starter homes, blue are move-up homes, and red is a luxury home. Okay, so let's say that I've got a buyer that's come up from Toronto, and they want to buy a luxury home. So let's look at some of the different areas. This is for Glenway Estates. So we've got a property, well, we've got a property over here. Let's have a look at this. Binns Avenue, Street View. And I would say, James, you're my buyer. Is this the kind of neighborhood? See, this is indicative of Canada. Do you see the sky there, James?
Yeah.
Yes. Do you miss this?
Well, quite badly.
Okay. So anyway, I'm taking the buyer down the street here, and I would say to my buyer while they're sitting in my office, is this the kind of neighborhood that you would even be interested in? If the answer is yes, we might go look at that area. If the answer is no, I can click on the map and take them to a different area of town, but that would save you a lot of running around. Anyway, look, this is not a commercial for this program. I don't get paid a penny. In fact, I've negotiated a huge discount for you folks to get this. I just think you should all have it. Anyway, we're out of time for today. James McDonald and Andrew, do we have any further announcements about what's going to happen tomorrow and next week?
Andrea?
Yes, tomorrow is going to be a really awesome marketing clinic. We have Christy Filion coming on, and she's going to show us some of her best Facebook marketing. She's going to include the cost, the budget, including Google pay-per-click budget, the results. I'm really looking forward to tomorrow's session. She did confirm. So like I said, Monday, it's going to be a can't-miss webinar.
You mean Friday or Monday?
I said it Monday for Friday.
Okay.
Andrea, sometimes she just makes little mistakes to see if you and I are paying attention. So when she says Monday, it really means Friday. Don't you get it?
Correct.
Okay, so tomorrow's ad clinic, 11 a.m. on the East Coast, 8 a.m. on the West Coast. We are going to look at all of our ads that have been submitted, and as Andrea said, Christy Fillion's going to zoom in specifically on Facebook advertising. So we're going to wrap it up for today. Great job by James McDonald and by Andrea and everyone who participated today. We thank you. We appreciate it. And hopefully you'll all join us tomorrow when we talk about how to generate the leads in the first place. That concludes today's role play call. Take care. Have a great day.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you, James. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a wonderful afternoon.